I remember one time my dad, he had a business downtown, very successful business, and they wrote faggot across the front windows.
Mm.
And we had to go out there with paint remover and whatever they used, and we got it down. But that was the mentality. I mean, it was only 6,000 people in the town.
Wow. Yeah.
I could never live there again.
Wow.
And I know people in the community that are there, and they know the way of life, and they connect. I don't
So
know,
have
they're used to them, and they live there. So
so have you ever been fearful about your life because of that?
yeah, most definitely. When I was in junior high, I was gang raped, and I didn't think they were going to let me live then. And I made it home, burned my clothes, and didn't tell anybody.
Sorry to hear that, Mark. That's terrible.
But that was back in the early 70s, late 60s, and didn't know who they were. I just knew I was held down while somebody did it, and they took turns.
First, I just want to say welcome to my podcast. And would you like to introduce who are you?
I'm Markdale Maple, live in a nursing home. I don't see a lot of gay people in nursing homes, but it's nice to know they have gay-friendly nursing homes out here where you can be yourself and people don't mind. And that's what I have experienced here.
And so just people know where you are exactly because you're not in New Zealand. So
No, I'm not in New Zealand. I'd love to go there, but I am in Denver, Colorado, USA, right outside of Denver in Lakewood, Colorado. And I loved it. And nice neighborhood. Now that I can walk, I'm walking everywhere. And it's just to see people walking their dogs and their babies in there. It's like middle class America, and I love it.
so were you born in Denver as well? Or
No, I was born in Helltown. I'm I was born in a small southern town, well, in Missouri, but growing up was hell because I'd never been in the closet. But I had 6 big brothers and 1 big sister that took care of me.
so you are the baby in the family?
Yeah, and I'm spoiled rotten.
And you never were in the closet. So you're talking about
My brother says I was born with a tiara on my head.
really? Oh, that is lovely.
And I asked one other brother about it, and he goes, I knew you were that way growing up. I mean, you're a little kid. And everybody's like, we know what he's going to grow up to be. And he says, I've never changed. I've always been the same person since I was very young.
So what year were you born, Mark?
1957.
1957.
I
So
grew up in the 60s and I survived the 70s.
yeah. You will see a lot of changes, especially with the rainbow communities, isn't it, throughout the time. When you say you never were in a closet, I was just thinking, wow, you must be courageous to be able to be who you are, living in a very different time when it's less open and acceptance.
Well, you have to understand that's machine ran the political system when I was growing up. Very conservative. It's a big Trump supporting area. They may be regretting it now, but it's ultra conservative. And I got out there as soon as I could. I'd been beaten up one too many times and my family harassed. I had nieces and nephews that were like 6 years younger than me and 8 years younger than me that were stopped in school and harassed because of me.
Mm,
And I found that out and it broke my heart.
yes.
People should leave the kids alone. They want to deal with something, come to me. And that
Mm,
was my attitude back then and still is.
mm,
And most people, when they have a problem, they come to me and we talk it out.
mm, mm. Yeah, that must be hard. seeing, like people that you care about being harassed because of your sexual orientations?
Very much so. I remember one time my dad, he had a business downtown, very successful business, and they wrote faggot across the front windows.
Mm,
And we had to go out there with paint remover and whatever they used, and we got it down. But that was the mentality. I mean, it was only 6,000 people in the town.
wow. Yeah.
I could never live there again.
Wow.
And I know people in the community there that are there, and they know the way of life, and they connect. I don't
So
know,
have
they're used to them, and they live there. So
so have you ever been fearful about your life because of that?
yeah, most definitely. When I was in junior high, I was gang raped, and I didn't think they were going to let me live then. And I made it home, burned my clothes, and didn't tell anybody.
Sorry to hear that, Mark. That's terrible.
But that was back in the early 70s, late 60s, and didn't know who they were. I just knew I was held down while somebody did it, and they took turns. I mean, you watch Law and Order Special Victims Units, and they had that subject matter on there, and you're like, yeah,
Mm,
brings
mm,
back memories.
mm,
Somebody I was dating online found out you don't do certain things because it triggers
mm.
memories, and I shut down. He's been groveling ever since, and I just see red flag because my first boyfriend was abusive. And I got out of that by the skin of my teeth. And then after that, I'm like the most wonderful person in the world.
So so just out of curiosity, Mark, when you say you're always open about your sexual orientation, does it means that you have never once have to come out to your parents and say, "Hey, look, I'm gay," because they knew?
They they caught me in bed with my boyfriend.
Okay.
Dad told me to kneel down and pray for forgiveness, and I said, "F you, old man."
Yeah.
He said, "What did you say?" And I said, "You heard me. I didn't stutter. I was 16." And he came running after me. I went up the stairs and turned on my music loud. He's banging the door down, and I locked it. He couldn't get in. I can hear my mother, "John, don't you lay a hand on that boy." And quieted down. I turned down the music, curled up in bed, cried myself to sleep. Woke up the next morning, it was Saturday, and found a plaque on my door.
Mm.
Said, "Lord, fill my mouth with worthwhile stuff and nudge me when I said enough." I'm like, my mother has a subtle way of dropping hints. So I've said that prayer many a time.
So have you ever talked about again with your parents after that incident?
Yeah, my first husband, and we were together 12 and a half years. And when
Yeah.
we broke up, they were devastated.
Yeah.
They thought out of all the 8 kids, Joe and I would have we'd seem to have the strongest marriage.
Mm.
And my brothers, as my mother said, they were out there procreating like crazy. I got enough nieces and nephews. I mean, they're in their 50s and 60s now.
Yeah. Wow.
Boy, even the ones I raised are in 50 and above now.
How many are of them altogether? Like how many nieces and nephew? Or now
Uh,
there must be great grands nephew and nieces as well.
they've been begetting, like it says in the Bible. That's what my mother said. Like crazy. I think my oldest nephew's 62, and he's a father, grandfather, great grandfather, and I think that's all. I know his daughter's daughter had a baby.
Oh
I
wow.
can't remember. I've lost track. There's too
Yeah.
many of 'em. But when we had the family reunion, we're all there.
Wow. It
It's
must.
wonderful. And I'm very accepted by my family, and I'm
Mm,
lucky. I'm one of the lucky few.
yeah, I hear you.
I I keep in touch with them, not like I used to, but they're all in their 70s and got a couple of brothers pushing 80. One of them is 80 something. He's going to be celebrating his 60th wedding anniversary July 2nd.
Oh, wow.
I'm so happy for him. God bless him with a wonderful wife.
Yeah, 60 years. That's
And
amazing.
blessed me 60 years with the best sister-in-law. And they have
Wow.
always been supportive of me, always. And their kids, I babysat a lot. And they're very accepting of me. And I've heard from all my nieces and nephews that they've met gay people. And because they knew me and saw what I had to go through, and knew what I was like personally,
Mm.
they knew how to treat me like everybody else.
So do you have any nephew and nieces who's gay as well?
I have no clue. I haven't asked them.
Yeah.
I've got suspicions.
Mm.
I mean, 15% of the population.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
1 out of 10, so there's
Yeah.
10%. But as big as my family is, I mean, there's 65 members of us now.
Yeah. Wow.
But my mom and dad have passed, and my sister and my oldest brother.
Mm.
And my mother had Parkinson's, and they diagnosed me a year ago,
Mm.
year and a half ago with Parkinson's.
Mm.
So it's kind of weird. That's how you reached out to me, because I reached out to Hucky Smith and he put it on his post, the sweetheart. And because I was awesome. My first husband, as I said, was a minister of Metropolitan Community Church.
Mm.
We lived in St. Louis. I was very much in the forefront of the gay community there.
Mm.
He became pastor of Ray of Hope, MCC, in Syracuse. I was kind of like a lay pastor, too.
Mm.
So when he had active duty with the Navy, I filled in for him.
Mm.
And we had a friend of ours that was a Catholic priest that helped too. But I helped do the service and everything. And when we split up, I chose the bottle over him. And that was the biggest mistake of my life.
Yeah.
But as I've always said, God blessed him with another man that has been a blessing. And I thank God for him because he's making up for the hell I went through. I moved to St. Louis after we broke up, and I went to work at one of the largest gay nightclubs in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most popular ones at that time, too, back in the 90s. And I worked there for 10 years as security and bartender. So
Mm.
I've really been in St. Louis at that time. Everybody knew me. They all called me Remark,
Mm.
because I got a remark for everything.
Yeah.
Come back and you say something, it'll just come right out. I don't know how, why, or what I said. It just comes out. And I had a blast working there. The last few years I worked there, I didn't drink because I quit drinking. And that was an experience. Putting up with drunk queens when you're sober that is a job in itself.
I bet. And
Instant
that
asshole, add alcohol.
yeah.
They can be the sweetest person in the world. And I was the same way. When I drank, I was a lush.
How
My
old were
hands were
you?
going everywhere they should.
How old were you when you were working in that place?
Late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, I experienced some things that I never wanted to see again.
Mm.
And I watched a man die.
Oh yeah.
He had gotten one of our customers got hit by a car.
Wow.
And I witnessed it, saw who did it. And when they went up for the lineup, it's like you got a wig and a baseball cap on him in the lineup. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yep, I could still tell who it was. they'll never leave my mind. But
Yeah.
watching that young man die,
Yeah.
I
So was it?
stayed there
Yeah.
until sunrise.
Wow.
And a few weeks later, his wife and little boy
My
came
God.
by and wanted to thank me. Oh, I make myself cry. I had some memories there that I pray never leave me. I have wonderful people I met.
Mm.
I even met Neil Sedaka. He was looking for a piano bar, which was right behind us, and I couldn't believe I met him. And one of the village people, Felipe Rose, I met him
Mm.
there. Cindy Lauper was there. The cast from Victor Victoria came there. I mean, we were a popular nightclub.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to be there. Then our apartment caught fire. I came home and they had all 5 of my cats laid out on the lawn dead.
Dear.
I lost my mind
Yeah, of course.
and ended up in the state hospital and quit all my jobs. I had 3 jobs, did hair during the day, nightclub at night, and between those 2 jobs, I was maitre d' at a restaurant.
Wow.
I like to stay busy.
Yeah. That sounds.
Retirement is not a dream with me.
Yeah.
So
So you have had a very active life.
very. I stayed busy. When I lived in Syracuse, New York, I had a rose garden. I had prize-winning roses at the New York State Fair. That was my life,
Mm.
where my babies get a, as I put it, we got a ton of organic fertilizer dumped in my driveway every spring.
Yeah.
I fed my roses and my neighbors came by and got the rest. So I was very active in our neighborhood. I sold real estate and I was an artist and I would do portraits of homes.
What
And
What do you
I'm,
mean by what do you mean by portrait of home?
I
So
would
do you,
get a photograph
yeah,
of their house
yeah,
and they'd be in the winter or whatever, and I would make it look like summertime and do a painting of the house.
amazing.
And some people want that for their home,
But
especially if it's been a family home or I several. It'd take me a while to do it. And then I'd take my vacation at a gay campground in Pennsylvania, and it would inevitably rain every time I'd take a week off work, go down there, but I always took my paint
yeah,
and some canvas or a piece of board, anything to paint on, just something to do. And I would paint different scenes around the campground if I could, and people would love. The next weekend, I'd have 4 or 5 paintings done just real quick. And I'd sell and pay for my week's vacation.
hmm,
Nothing wrong with that.
hmm.
That's in my price range.
And you work really hard as well. Sounds like.
And all my jobs I have had fun with. Doing hair for 25 years. I mean, I watched it change, and nowadays, my God, the weaves and the braids and the dreadlocks and blue hair. And I mean, we had blue hair when I was learning how to do hair too, but
Mm.
it was a different shade of blue.
So, Mark, you would have been witness the HIV pandemic during
I
the.
I was single. Well,
Yeah.
I was married to the beginning of it, but I don't know how. I did not practice safe sex on a regular basis,
Mm,
and I'm still HIV negative.
mm,
I've been in and out of the hospital a lot in the past year and a half. I mean, a lot. So they tested me.
mm.
I'm negative, but it's been years since I've done anything, and you got to do something to get it.
Yes. Have you lost any friends, close friends from during that time?
During Joseph in Mind Ministry, yeah, I would say so.
Mm,
I was supposed to cut somebody's hair and he was going to come to my house. I didn't call him, didn't make arrangement, and I worked overtime. I worked for J.C. Penney, and I didn't cut his hair. And several weeks later, he committed suicide. That was at the beginning of age. He wanted his hair done so he would look good in the casket.
Mm.
And he checked himself into a motel room, took a handful of pills, and went to sleep. That was the first one. And it just went downhill from there. I mean, at the beginning of the epidemic, it's like everybody I knew had it. And here, Joseph and I were still negative. And I got over the survivor's guilt. I had to deal with that at first
Mm.
because I was a player. I got married, and how I did not get it after I got divorced. I don't know. God has better things in store for me.
I hear you because throughout my life, I have unsafe sex as well. And when I think about it, I'm pretty fortunate I didn't contract HIV. And so I understand what you mean.
Survivor's guilt, a lot of people
Mm.
in our community dealt with that for years, and I know a lot are still having survivor's guilt. I had my best friend in New York died of Lou Gehrig's disease. People forget, like I have Parkinson's disease. That's why I live in a nursing home. That's why I reached out to begin with, see if the gay community here was listening. It snowballed. I'm still floored. Every morning I have to go through my friends list on Instagram. It takes me a while to get all the messages.
So let's talk about that. We mentioned about the Instagram posted by Haki Smith, and that was the reason why I get in touch with you because
Yeah.
he mentioned about you on his Instagram and say that, like you're in nursing home by yourself and you are looking for new friendships. And since then, you've been inundated with messengers, people reaching out to you from all over the world, including myself.
Yeah. I mean, Australia, Canada, Switzerland, France, Amsterdam, the UK, Venezuela, Argentina. The one in Venezuela wants to marry me. I'm like, no hablo español. The Philippines, Singapore, Southeast Asia, all over the U.S. People from back where I lived in St. Louis have been in touch with me from Syracuse or the surrounding area. And one person I talked to in Syracuse, he said, if you were when the MCC was meeting at that church, I think I remember you. You
Oh,
had
wow.
blonde hair and you were a heavy set guy. And I said, yep, you know me.
That's amazing.
It's a small world. And it's one thing the kids nowadays need to realize is sometimes when you throw a small pebble in a big pond, you start a ripple
Yeah.
and you never know how far it's going to go. And to see somebody on answering that post that knew me or knew me from the church shows me that. And I've had several incidents over the years where people have told me. I remember one gentleman who has had the hepatitis and things happened and he thought he wasn't supposed to have sex again. I'm like, yes, you can, because I've had hepatitis and I had sex afterwards. You do heal from it. It takes time. And he wrote me the sweetest letter back. He goes, you brought me back to life. I don't feel like my life is over anymore. You never know what a gentle act of kindness is going to do. You never know what you say or how it's going to affect one person. And if that person comes out more positive and happier, I'm doing God's work. That's my take on it.
Absolutely. And sometimes what that person needs is that kindness, isn't it? To carry on.
And then Huck did it. Just a simple act of kindness is all he did. And I wish more Americans were like Huck, spoke from the heart. And I listened to some of the things he says, and I'm like, God, you're right. He's single, I'm single. I think there's a 20-year age difference and 20 something, but it's like we both want the same thing, just in our age group.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he says everything that I need to hear. And a lot of people with ADHD or people like me who are incapacitated now. I don't have to use a wheelchair anymore, thank God. But life hit me a curveball. And
Mm.
if you're upfront and honest with people, they don't want anything to do with you. They think I'm trying to find somebody to take care of me. I've had the nurse just brought me my meds, and the other CNA came in, take my dinner order, but they know I'm busy. They take good care of me here at Edgewater. When I came here, I was so sick.
Mm.
My ex-husband was taking care of me, and he is my POA, my medical power of attorney, and he has taken such wonderful care of me over the past 2 years. We thought I was dying. We didn't know what was going on.
Mm.
I came here, I could barely talk. I was shaking so bad, my telephone locked me out and had to get a new one.
Mm.
But God blessed me with somebody who had found a phone, gave it to Kurt. We got it working. I got a new phone. I quit shaking so it won't lock me out, hopefully. I mean, God's blessed me in so many different ways, and I can't talk about anything unless I say that
Mm.
because I look back and they took such good care of me here, and I'm walking again. The physical therapy department, they dubbed me DMF, and you'll probably bleep this out, but determined motherfucker.
Help you to get well again.
I set a date. I wanted to be walking by Easter, and by Easter, I could walk with a walker and not by myself, but I could walk.
Yes.
And then a month after Easter, I could walk without the walker.
Wow.
The only thing is one of the falls I had when I first got sick, I broke my back. Never break your back. My brother told me that, and I said, yeah. And it's fun. They give you fun drugs, and I don't like taking them. I'm in recovery. I don't want to take anything. And my doctor works with me. I got a wonderful doctor that comes here and works with the facility. And she found out some few things were wrong with me and she corrected it. And the last place I went to couldn't explain why I dropped 135 pounds in 8 months. Thyroid.
Yeah.
Now we got that fixed. I mean, it's been a blessing that I was sent here. And that's the only way I can look at it.
Mm.
From the director right on down to housekeeping, laundry, everybody in between. I mean, every job is vital, and they take it that they're taking care of us. You ask them to do something. I hate to ask you to do this, but and they go, no problem. We're here to take care of you. And I'm scared to move out because I never know when the Parkinson's is going flare up. It's kind of hitting my legs a little bit.
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
had some problems, and I just sit here, look out the window.
Yeah.
I quit smoking. I'm not socializing like I used to, but I've had visitors because of that pulse. And one came an hour and a half north and had to bring his sister down, came by and visited me, and we went for a walk and had the best visit. We connected, and that felt so good. And I'm like, and he has to live so far away. And he only comes down here once a month. So, but I'm very grateful for the visit I had with him.
And that's what we wanted to talk about as well, is living in the nursing home. And the challenge is loneliness, isn't it? Because, yeah.
It's unreal. You're
Mm.
around all these people, and I've made friends. I have a wonderful God sent roommate. I mean, not very many people in my situation can tell that the two roommates I have had have been God sent. They've been positive, upbeat, and they were both veterans. My roommate now is dealing, he had to have an amputation, leg amputation, and he don't care. I'd run you over. He's a joy. And
Mm.
I'm lucky. And I'm like, I've been lucky in life. And yeah, I'm here in the nursing home, and I see a lot of people who don't get visitors. My ex tries to come by once a week and have lunch with me, but I don't like eating in the dining room until I get a little claustrophobic. And when I was in a wheelchair, I would freak out, so I quit eating in the dining room. And I still got to get over that. And they're helping me. They're like, "You sure you don't want to eat down?" They do it. They do it and encourage you to do everything that they know you can do. And I have to put it that way because they worked with me so patiently I've been here a little over a year, and they have really been patient with me and understanding, even when I couldn't, and I was shaking so bad I couldn't feed myself. I would wear most of my food. So, I'm wearing one of their they gave me a Edgewater t-shirt, but I found out why they were 5-star rated. And I was lucky they had an opening because they don't have an opening too often. They're busy. They get people in here for rehabilitation and nursing care, extended care, which is what I have. But I'm very independent. Last few weeks I haven't been, but I try to be. I try to do what I can possibly. I keep looking at Michael J. Fox and how he's dealt with this over the years, how he worked and acted and wrote a book and told people up front how he's dealing with Parkinson's. And so much emphasis in our community has been HIV.
That's right.
AIDS. I feel like I'm one of the forgotten ones because I have Parkinson's. I don't have HIV, so I don't have all these outlets in our community to reach out to. With HIV, you got that. But what about Lou Gehrig's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS? If you can say that, you know you have been involved with somebody you love who had it. What about Parkinson's? What about cancer? Just plain everyday cancers that pop up. Where are the outlets and support systems in our community for that? That's what concerns me with our baby boomers and our society and our community that are lost. People forgot about them. More attention needs to be brought to that because these were the people that marched, started the gay pride parades when you had a bunch of guys dressed up at nuns standing up on the cathedral steps doing the can-can. And a lot more organized and a lot more positive now. I've seen a lot of growth over the years with gay pride. And I was talking to the nursing staff. I want to go to Pride. I bought a pair of Pride shoes, and I wish I could wear my winter vest. It's rainbow, and I want to go, and I don't know if my legs are going to hold out. And they said, wheelchair. I'm like, God, how am I going to find somebody to take me in a wheelchair?
So there's a big questions around where are they? Where are those champions who paved the way for people like me? Were they being looked after? And hope they are not being forgotten.
There's a handful. I don't think there's going to be enough of us that we need to draw attention to it because I didn't realize it until I talked to Huck. And it hit me. I'm lonesome. It's a gay community is what I'm missing because I have a lot of friends here. I lead prayer group in the morning and a lot of people come in. We listen to I love CC Wyans, and we put her on and listen to the word she says and I speak about it. We pray as a family. And a lot of us here, I'm not talking about the gay community, I'm talking about the community as a whole.
Yes.
They don't get visitors. Their families are busy. They may come by once or twice a month and visit. I worked in a nursing home when I was 19. That's wrong. There are a handful of us battle-worn queens out here that are in nursing homes that have something else besides AIDS that are forgotten. And I trust in the family of God, and I trust that they will reach out to me, gay or straight, because I'm part of a greater family. And too many people in our community have been told otherwise. They've been, as Colonel Powder on MASH said, they've been fed a line of horse hockey all their lives. And they need to realize they are a child of God. Even at my age, I have to be reminded. Even when people are not saying God or Jesus or whatever, they say things that make sense, that help people deal with what life has to offer. I love the Huck's video post one morning. He did it from bed. He goes, I just gotta survive myself today. I'm like, oh my God, how many mornings do I feel like that? I just gotta survive myself. Things are said by certain people that I have found when I'm scrolling. I have also found gay seniors on there in bikinis with angel wings on. It's like, don't count our senior citizens down. But my mission is to get people, how do I put it, in our community and the gay community, not to forget us. As Huck said, it only takes a few minutes of your time, once a month, once a week, so we don't feel forgotten. It's hard.
Absolutely.
And I was tickled when you reached out to me because the word needs to go out. There's other things besides HIV and AIDS that are crippling our seniors in our community. And if I wasn't blessed with my ex-husband, we remain friends. And the place I am at now, I don't know what I would have done. I have no family out here. They're all back in Missouri and Arkansas. I can't travel anymore, so I wanted to go back to my 50th high school reunion in September, but I don't feel safe traveling by myself. And nobody wants to go to Missouri. The humidity kills you.
So there's some real barrier as well, which just make it harder for you to connect to people. Travel is one of them, and there's just a real example of what happened, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't hop in the car and go down to the gay community center or to MCC of the Rockies.
Yeah.
And that's all down on Capitol Hill. I'm out in the western suburbs. I mean, I can walk 3 blocks over and it's Denver. 2 blocks over, I'm in Edgewater. I mean, I'm just, all these towns are all connected and I'm right in where they all meet. So I like to go to Sloan's Lake and walk around it. It's 3.5 miles and I can do it. And that's the first time in 2 years.
Wow.
And so I'm proud of myself. I had to learn how to walk again, talk again. I think I could even cut hair again if I had somebody took my scissors, my shears, and I can't afford to replace. So I am retired. I can't stand that long anymore anyway. But
So, Mark, looking back of your life, do you have any regret?
there are certain decisions that I have made. I will put it that way because my occupational therapist, Christian, he kept telling me, decision. You have to learn to make decisions because I'm walking with a walker at that time. I'm learning how to walk again. And you have to really pay attention and make decisions. So I look back at my life and I see decisions I have made that were not the greatest in the world. There's a large amount, a proportionately large amount of alcoholism in the gay community compared to the community at large, percentage-wise. And I'm in that group, and I've dealt with it. I've got 16 years clean and sober. I am very adamant. My doctor knows that, and we deal with it properly. because even my family, it's like, we like talking to you. You're clear-minded. I mean, it's such a big difference. And I'm enjoying sobriety. I'm enjoying having money in my bank account. It's been an awakening because once in a while you turn your back on God. And now I can look back and I see everywhere that God had his hand in my life.
Mm,
It guided me to this place for a reason. It guided me to that place and to that person for
mm,
a reason.
mm,
And I'm looking at now and realizing that wasn't the best decision, but in the long run, it was a good decision.
mm.
I see now where the positive aspect was in my decision making. I have made some bad decisions. And dating online at my age, I don't know how to meet people. I'm not having any luck, but I got all these people who are like, Daddy, Daddy. And I'm like, I want the daddy. I don't want to be one.
Same here. I got people want me to be a daddy. I was like, no, I want a daddy, but
I got somebody I'm talking to in New Jersey who's a daddy. He's younger than I am, but he's a daddy.
daddy is not an age thing if people don't understand.
We have the same feelings at 68, 69 as we did when we were in our 20s.
Exactly.
And we still picture ourselves with the type, we're still attracted to the same age group. I
Yeah.
was attracted to 40s and 50s when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I'm in my almost 70 now, and I'm still attracted to 40s and 50s. I mean, that it's like, I think Elizabeth Taylor said, she goes, I have a type. I like 40-year-olds. All of her husbands were in their 40s, and we have a type.
Yeah, we do. We do.
But
People don't
there's so many scammers online now. You can't. Who do you trust?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, Mark, where you at in your life right now?
I'm in a happy place right now. I've turned my life over to God. Again, not the first time I've turned up and said, Hey, you're in charge. Take over the reins. I'm not dealing with it. And God is like, Okay, you're my child. I'm taking care of you. So I'm in a place where people are taking care of me. I have a hard time walking, or I'm scared I'm gonna slip in the shower. They tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And so I have to say I'm in a good place, and thanks to her, I'm in a happy place.
Very
Since
pleased.
that post, I've been so busy saying hi to everybody, and everybody's saying hi to me and checking in with me, and I'm in a happy place.
That's wonderful. And so the second questions that I have is there a message that you want to share to the world?
Not just to the gay community, but to the world at large, since I have heard from so many people from all over. It has to be a global thing.
Mm,
In Europe and Asia, they tend to revere their elders and take care of them. In the United States, they have a bad habit.
mm,
You got this condition, that condition. You've had a stroke. You've had an aneurysm. You can't walk anymore. You can't do this. You can't do that. Put you in there and see you later.
mm.
And that's what happened. You get forgotten by a community. For me, that I used to help lead, that I used to try to add enough El Toro poo poo to fertilize somebody's life and make them smile. That's what everyone needs to be doing. And don't forget us. Learn from us. Look at what we went through and realize the blessings that you are getting because of what we sacrificed and we went through. There's
Absolutely.
laws on the books now for hate crimes here in the U.S. Legalize marriages, legalize pot. Everything I've been trying to fight for is all coming to pass.
Mm,
I'm seeing the younger kids reaping the benefits, and I sit back and I praise God for everything. But there's a lot more work you have to do.
yeah, I hear you.
Don't forget the old queen. We gotta polish our tiaras, but We're out there. Some of us live in nursing homes. Some of us live at home and get nursing coming to the home. Yes, we can't forget our brothers and sisters who have AIDS, breast cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer that our community suffers from. We can't just look at the men. We have to be sure we look at the women too. They've got issues, and we need, as a community, to address them. But don't forget us old folks. We've got a lot of stories to tell.
Absolutely. And I agree with you as well. And even though by age we probably is only about 16 years differences, but even for me, my generation, we have reaped a lot of benefits from people like yourself who have paved the way.
I never thought of myself as somebody who really fought that much, but I did. The little bit I did had that ripple effect.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take much for one person to do something and it snowball like that post that Huck put on there. He just snowballed it. I was so overwhelmed.
Have you had a chance to say thank you to him yet?
Oh, I have thanked him so many times, and I'll do it again. Thank you, Huck. I love you. If I was a little younger, I'd be after you.
I think we all love Huck, especially his message, as you say. It's honest,
His sense
candid.
of humor,
Yeah.
I love it. It's from the heart. And he's so real and so good to see in this day and age.
I put a comment on his post, say, I couldn't believe you're still single. Is there anything yet you want to share before we finished?
I'm single and I'm looking for somebody. How's that?
I love that.
I'll cut to the chase. I turned 69 in October and want somebody to 69 with.
Amazing. Let's find someone that you can celebrate your
I want to
69th.
find somebody that I can cuddle up in bed and do nothing else with. I just want to
Absolutely.
feel the arms around me. I miss that.
Yeah.
You do miss that. I mean, Joseph and I would start out that way, and then he'd be on the other side of the bed because I run hot.
Yeah. Let's find you that someone who's real and who can come to you not by mobile phone, text messages, but a real person.
Who could text me, have a conversation, and not ask me for money.
Mark, first, I just want to say thank you again so much for your time. And it's been such a joy talking to you. And thank you so much for trusting me, even as a stranger, when I reach out and say, hey, do you want to come to my podcast? And you generously say yes. So thank you.
Give me a chance to talk and I will. I used to have a t-shirt that said, help, I want to quit talking and I can't shut up.
That is a good one. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. That's really
You're very
amazing.
welcome.